not just slapping powder on your face. You have to know what you're looking for. Let's get into today's video. We are talking about powders. Okay, this is something that I feel like when you first get into makeup, it can be a little bit overwhelming. It can be a little bit confusing because you're like, okay, you're saying I need a powder, but what type of powder? And what color should I choose? And you know, all of these things. So we're going to go through the powders that I have before me, and we're going to break them down step by step of what I use them for, how I like to use them, recommendations, all of that good stuff. One thing I did, most of my makeup off camera, I did not set under my eye. I did not put on any of my finishing powders because I wanted to do that with you guys. So let's jump right in. First and foremost, you have to think about how you want your under eye to look. So if you want a bright under eye, if you just want to merely set the powder, set the concealer under your eye and call it a day, going about your business, these are questions that you need to ask yourself. You can use what's called a loose powder, or you can use a pressed powder. So a loose powder is gonna be like your Givenchy powders, or like a Laura Mercier, or like one of my favorites, which is the one size powder. These are what you consider loose powders because they're loose. You know, most of the time they are finely milled, so they will smooth on the skin really nicely. And then you have other options, which are pressed powders. So they come in little compacts like this. You are selecting your loose powder. You're gonna consider a few different things. Is this for dry skin? Is this for oily skin? Because those loose powders can do a lot. They can blur, they can control oil, they can give you luminosity. So it's not just slapping powder on your face. You have to know what you're looking for. Also selecting the right powder that is going to work for your skin type, your skin age, your skin tone, and all of those things collectively. So if you have more mature, more dry skin, a powder that I would recommend and that I have enjoyed because it gives you that blurring effect, it's not going to dry out your under eye, and it's not going to settle into your lines, is the Givenchy Prism Libre powder. This is a mix of, you can choose it based on your skin tone. It's a mix of 4 different colors. So, you know, just depending on what you're looking for, and I'll pop a picture up here for your convenience so you can see what it looks like. But it has a mix of 4 different powders, and they have different selections. So if you're more fair skin versus if you're more of you have more melanin in your skin, you can choose the powder that's correct for you. But if you're looking for something that is going to blur but control the oil as well, the One Size Beauty powder is the translucent powder is amazing. I remember when I first tried this, I was so taken aback about how it just made my under eyes look, how it just blurred them, how it set, how it wore throughout the day. I was just absolutely in love. I love the applicator on this, and you hear me mention it all the time during a lot of my videos because it's a really great powder for my skin type, for my skin tone. I just really enjoy it. I like the fact that it does have this top on it. Now I know some people might tear it off and remove it, but I love that it has this top on it because then I can close it up and it's an extra barrier of protection. When I open up my powder, I know it's not gonna go woof all over me. So I really love the packaging and I love the powder itself. But this is a powder that I've just enjoyed, and since I started using it, I really haven't put it down. But prior to that, I was a Laura Mercier girl, and I still enjoyed their powders. This is an older powder. It's empty. It's just about empty. But this was like their anniversary edition, and she has some different ones. She has like a blurring one, and then this is in the color Translucent Honey, but she has a regular translucent powder. Mercier powder is, you know, universal. It works for a lot of people, and you know, if you're just starting and building your kit, you know, as you learn more about your skin type and how your makeup wears throughout the day, you can figure out which powder will work best for you. Huda Beauty powder, and this, I love the fact that brands now have come out with sample sizes because that's the thing, right? You know, before you have to spend about a good $40 to try a powder, and then you still might not even like it. So I love the fact that there are sample sizes available and you can try it out and you get a good amount of powder just to see if you like it. And I do like this powder. I do like the way it sets. It has its benefits, and I love this applicator for it to be a mini. We're gonna move into application, because application is key, just depending on the look you want. I have my fluffy brush right here, and that's gonna determine, first and foremost, when you're setting your under eye, you wanna make sure you have all your creases out before you set, because no one wants to set, you know, under eye lines and fine lines. So what I've been doing lately is putting the powder in the palm of my hand, swirling it around just to do that initial set with the brush, but making sure that I don't have any lines underneath, okay? Because we don't want to set those. And if you haven't seen it already, I did do a video more recently about my blush. So I'm really loving blush at this moment. I'll link that below. But I also did a video regarding the Beauty Puff versus the Beauty Blender, and I'll link that for you as well. But I like using my puff. So this doesn't have any product on it. And I'm just gonna go in and just tap it out. But then, if I wanted to have like a more bright under eye, dab it on there, but I'm gonna dab off that excess just on my hand like this. And that's going to really carve and set and give me that bright under eye look that I want, if that's the look I'm going for. So typically, just depending on what I'm doing, where I'm going, who I'm gonna see, those type of things, it just determines how I set my powder and how I want it to look. Because sometimes you want it to look like, ooh, she put on some makeup. And then other times you're like, I want it to, you know, I want my face to be set, but I don't want to look overly done up because that occasion doesn't call for this. So I like really just like pressing it in, and this itself just makes it really, really that much easier to do so. Set all the areas where I applied concealer. Something else I want to talk about are my pressed powders. So if you are a consistent watcher, first of all, thank you, but you know that I absolutely love the Sephora microsmooth powder. I really like this powder for setting my face and just kind of finishing off the look and blurring everything together. So again, if you went a little ham on the blush, if you did too much with, you know, like your foundation, first and foremost, I would tell you go in with your puff or your beauty blender, soak up some of that foundation, right? And before you set it, because you don't want to look cakey. But this is just going to be like your final piece to bring everything together to keep it from looking, you know, too matte or too like overly done. So I usually like to take my foundation brush, the foundation brush I use, and I go over all the areas where I haven't put the translucent powder. So this is gonna help marry my bronzer, my blush, my concealer. It's gonna help bring all that together, get rid of any harsh lines, but also ensure the longevity of my makeup throughout the day. Another thing that I like using is the Charlotte Tilbury powder. This is a finishing powder, and it just really, I really like using this under my eyes just to blur out, like just as a final touch, and you know, really like pull the look together, and it really does that. So I really will just, and I use it on a fluffy brush to do so, all the areas, and I just feel like it's like that final piece. If you want a little dramatic on your blush, and after you set your powder blush, you're still like, oh, it's still a little bit, this will help tone it down and really bring your look together. And then I do have the foundation powder. This is by One Size. Now, this isn't something that I reach for often, but when I want to do a really, really quick, you know, 1, 2, 1, 2, this is helpful for that. And I'm just a fan of One Size products in general. And it's, again, when I'm looking for powders, I want them to be buttery. I want them to be smooth. I don't want, when I put them on my skin, because most of the time you have more, I'm not gonna say wrinkles, but more like lines and stuff, like in your hands and stuff. So if I put them on, I look and I pay attention to how they settle in the lines. If it's like a really smooth finish, or does like the powder kind of stick in there and, you know, kind of look cakey. So that's a tip for you. But knowing when and how to use your powders is key. Application, again, whether you're using a brush. If you want a more natural finish, you're gonna reach for a brush. If you want more of like a filter-like finish, you're gonna reach for things like your powder puff and things of that nature, or a beauty blender. But those are things that I keep in mind when I'm searching for powders, when I'm shopping for new powders, and when I purchase them. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you haven't already, please take some time, go ahead, hit the like button, and also if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I upload my videos on Tuesdays and on Fridays, so make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell. And also comment down below. I would love to talk to you. Find out if you knew that there were a difference with like your regular powder, your setting powder, your finishing powder. And if you use all three types of powders, or if you just use one and you're like, I'm gonna just get it to do the whole job, do everything. So yeah, I would love to chat with you. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Mwah! Bye.